Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. I heard that phrase so many times growing up, it started to sound corny. Except when Brenda Fassie sang it, of course. She just made everything sound cool. So translated to English, it means you are because of others, or I am because of you, indicating that what defines the African individual is their connection with others anywhere in the world. If there's anything to learn from our past, it surely is that we were at our weakest when we were apart. And so it follows that our future needs us to center our connection to allow genuine growth. That's why this chapter is called The African Futurist. The conversation is with a good friend of mine, Nii Komey, a scholar, a visionary, and most importantly, an African futurist at heart. I have to make a quick disclaimer before this episode begins. A small part of this audio recording is compromised, but we decided to keep it for the sake of the value of the conversation and to show the reality of recording a podcast on a phone. It's the story that matters after all. Everything else, we can improve. First episode in Ghana at the Ifua Sutherland Children's Park. And I'm with my friend here, Nii Komey. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, you got the pronunciation right.
Okay, cool, man. You know everything about everything, so I'm going to ask you, what is this park about?
So this park is called the Ifua Sutherland Children's Park. Ifua Sutherland was a writer. She was one of Ghana's foremost child literature writers. She was a dramatist. She wrote a lot of children's novels. She used to host programs for kids. So when this park was built in the late 90s or something thereabouts, it was named in her honor. Her daughter is A.C. Sutherland, one of the foremost literature writers and oral literature experts in the country. Yeah, Ifua Sutherland was also a former Minister of Education.
You know what I call you? I call you the maestro, man. Because if anybody comes to this city, not even this city, this country, and wants to have context of pretty much the most important things, I think you're the man to go for. And you have such an intense level of knowledge, and I think that's informed by passion, you know. And I'm sure it starts somewhere. Tell me about your upbringing.
So I'm Ghana. Both parents are teachers. I grew up in Osu. I grew up just like 200 meters from the office of the president then, because then used to be at the castle. So I grew up in a very traditional setting. In fact, first 10 years I was in a family house, so I picked up a lot of communal spirits and communal lifestyles in the family house. It's a family thing there where everybody knows everyone. And so that's why I developed a lot of interest for cultural stuff, for literature. I've always had an interest for African literature, for English, for poetry, for Pan-Africanism, and for sports. And when I was young, we got the chance to go to, we have a program in Ghana called Pan-Afest. It happened this year's edition happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's Pan-African Festival. And so, we learned a lot of these type of things. I've had a chance to go to privileged schools, so that's why I developed my interest for the stuff I do. Currently, I'm a graduate student. I'm finishing up my thesis in Afrofuturism. I'm sure which I was speaking to you about yesterday.
That's amazing, man. Tell me more about that paper.
Okay, so Afrofuturism, I'm working on the future of Africa. It's futuristic literature in an African context with African philosophy imbibed in African literature, how Africa would look like in a futurist context. Most of the literature narratives on Africa has been about the past, about slavery, about segregation, about cultural stuff in the past, romanticizing the past, or speaking about the evils that was perpetrated on Africans. There's a different narrative also. How would Africa look in the future? And that's the school of thought that I subscribe to. So that's what we're looking at. in achieving AU Agenda 2063 and beyond, how do we see Africa? How do we see South Africa in Mzansi 2063? Or even in Mzansi 2094? I mean, because in 2094 we'll be celebrating 100 years of independence. Ghana will be celebrating 100 years of independence in 2057. The AU will celebrate 100 years in 2063. So how does Africa look like in the next 50 years, in the next 100 years? And there's this type of literature that we are hoping to stay up. As part of STEAM education, we are hoping the A part, we the people at the A part are using to use our art and our creativity. What Shalewater is all about, to stir conversation up, to bring about something imaginative that those in science and those in technology and those in engineering and mathematics can look up and bring it to the physical. And that's what the paper is about.
Definitely. I like that, actually. I know yesterday with our conversation, we touched on hashtags.
Yeah. Well, that's something I'm working on. Social identities, hashtag Pan-Africanism. It's how we use social media, especially Twitter, to connect among Africans, among ourselves. I was telling you about if Africa was a bar where we all could relate to the tweet.
When that hashtag was
there about 2 years ago. Yeah, very popular hashtag. Someone tells CNN, another very popular hashtag, the roads must fall, the fees must fall, Gandhi must fall, which has gone on in many countries, like the Malawians hold it dear to their heart, just like the way South Africans hold it dear to their heart, just like the way being in Ghana, especially University of Ghana, which is my institution of affiliation, hold it very much to our hearts. Thankfully Gandhi fell and Gandhi is not rising again on our campus. But then yes, it's these things that connect us. It's the Jollof Wars that connect us. It's the way we all support Nigeria in the World Cup, or the way we support other African countries in the World Cup. It's the way we are all proud of, the way we all support Black Lives Matter everywhere that matters. So yes, the hashtags. I was telling Pan-Africanism is all about unity and organization. So Twitter first as a community where we can unite among ourselves and where we can organize ourselves, and goes back to the futuristic thing so that we can have like a better, stronger future. Because the future is black and the future is African.
And that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. You know what I actually realized, and it blew my mind yesterday when I got home. Yesterday during the procession. Before we even go there, can you contextualize the procession that was happening yesterday?
Okay, so yesterday's procession, you know, traditionally when you visit someone, we are going to have a program. It's good that you call on the elders of the society as well as the God and gods the people believing. So yesterday's procession was about something about that. So we had to go to the Sempe Manche, which is one of the big stew houses in the Gamashi, which is the local name for Jamestown. Jamestown is British, is a British name. So the Gamashi is the local name. So we had to call on the traditional rulers of that place. So we did a procession across some of the main principal streets of Jamestown. That road is called the High Street. We went to ask for blessings. So the chief priest, who is like the spiritual leader of the society, he poured blessings to the ancestors to ask for guidance, to ask for blessings for the festival, which is getting into full gear now, to pray for protection for all those who be traveling in safe journey for them, etc. So yeah, that was what the procession was about. We had to go to other smaller, with no due respect, smaller royal houses where they also poured libation, where we introduced ourselves to them, and then that was what the procession was all about.
And with one of Okay, cool. So one of the elders yesterday was carrying a suitcase, and you were so fascinated about the suitcase. It had text on each side. The one side said generation migration, and the other side said religion versus science. That's the side that pretty much made you go crazy. And I remember you were like, that's a study right there. Not only that, but our main photographer, Abdul Haq, you made sure he took a good picture of that. And only at the end of the day, when I got to my place, I realized and I connected the dots that you are very intentional about your presence here. You are not only learning, but you're using this festival to add to your research, especially of the Ga people. Is that it?
Yes, so that's very, very true. Actually, I'm volunteering for this program upon academic recommendation. So it's there are lots of things that I'm enjoying, but then, I mean, that's entertainment, but there are a lot of things that's also educational. And I was very particular about that thing because science has always had a conflict with religion and culture. And one of the main things about Afrofuturism is how we view traditional African culture and science. Now let me give an example. Bulletproof is a Western creation or concept, right?
Okay.
And but then there's this, I'm sure you've seen it but you don't know, there's this fugu. I've shown you the fugu, right?
Yeah.
There's this fugu they wear with all sorts of pellets and materials on it, and you see people holding guns. It's red and black in color, right?
Yes.
It's a war dress. When you're done, I'll show you a picture of it again. It's a war dress, it's a war attire. And when people wear it, right, the believers, and I've seen some certain cultural practices, when you shoot them, it's a bulletproof, it doesn't touch them.
Yeah.
But then people don't accept that as bulletproof. Like, you don't see any military going wearing bulletproofs. Like, I mean, that was what they used to fight wars in that time, when they were fighting, like when there were serious wars between the traditional people or the local people and the colonialists who kept on trying to invade the country. So there, among other things, it shows you that there is a thin line. You see, the science, what is science in the first place? Is science just Westing? Is religion just Westing? Is science just Einstein and all these people, and is religion just Christianity and Islam? There's more to it than that. It's not a conflict of what it looks like. It's actually a bigger thing than that. There's lines that separate the lines that open us apart. Now, generational what was the other word? Generational
It was generation migration.
Generation migration. So we've seen that there's a void, I think, in many places, and maybe speaking about it in South Africa, where there's a cultural void among people, where people feel we are losing our culture, right? But then that's the thing with festivals. At a point in time, every festival was created at a point in time. It took a day to create any festival, right? And be up to date, like we've been speaking about. I was telling you, we are creating new festivals now. So we are keeping our old ones, but then adding on new ones, because in 100 years time, in 200 years time, we will be some people's ancestors, right? So we are still picking up the migration gap, creating new ones, adding it to all their people. So now, 10 years ago, or I mean, Chalwati started 9 years ago. So 10 years ago, there was just the Homo War. Right now, Homo War ends, and then there's a Chalwati Street Art Festival at the end. That succeeds it.
Yeah.
So you realize that it's a new culture that has come up. It's a new thing that has come up that everyone looks up to. So there's a generational gap. There was this whole generation of 100 years, 200 years ago that had the Homo War, and there's this current generation that has skipped it, that's bringing art into it, that takes about everybody from all around the world. Because you're here from Nzanzi, and then I'm here from Ghana, and then there are people from Nigeria here, we have people from Kenya here, we have people from Argentina here.
Sure.
Where we are having this whole united thing, which I also view another point as a Pan-African thing, because you're seeing all those people yesterday who were diasporan Americans and who had come here just to connect to their roots here. So there's that whole generation gap where we are skipping into a new generation, accepting our past, going back to it, but then also building new cultures for the future. And that is what it was all about. I was so fascinated about it, and it's just so nice you've got it.
Amazing, man. And I mean, I know you got work to do right now, so I'm gonna end it quite soon. You showed me a map yesterday of Africa.
Yeah.
And it had transit.
Yeah.
It was a transit map.
Yeah, it was a transit map.
And it looked like a train map, and it made it look like it's so easy to go from South Africa to West Africa.
Yeah.
And it made it look like I could catch a train.
Yeah.
To that. What is that about?
So part of the agenda of the African Union or the African countries is for better transportation between countries. Now Senegal is also in West Africa, just like Ghana, but it's easier to reach Dubai in the Middle East, or to reach Beijing, or to reach Paris, than to reach Senegal from Accra. I mean, the capital of Senegal is Dakar. It's easier to go from Accra to Paris than to go from Accra to Dakar. Or it's easier to move from Cape Town to, let's say, Malabo, or to Windhoek, or to to Kinshasa, then it might be to move from Joburg to London or something like that. So one of the aims is to improve intra-African trade, right? And in improving intra-African trade, there's always been a goal of the African Union, especially foremost Pan-Africanists like Kwame Nkrumah and Sekou, that we be able to have like roads and rails that connect us. So the map you saw yesterday was a road/rail map of Africa, what it should be. So it connects all parts of Africa. So there's the road rail map from Dakar, which is in the westernmost part of West Africa, to Nairobi and Mombasa in Kenya, in the eastern part of East Africa. There's also a map that connects Tripoli in Libya and Rabat, Casablanca in Morocco, to Joburg and to Cape Town in South Africa. Then there's this map also that connects Joburg to Mombasa and Nairobi, which is south to east. And then there's another one which connects the east to the north. So it's just about interconnecting Africa among each other. So you can sit in a train in Joburg at 6 p.m. or at 9 p.m. sleep and wake up in West Africa or in North Africa at 6 a.m. for a holiday over the weekend. And as the things we speak about the future of Africa, that these are the things we should be speaking about. So in Afrofuturism, do we put it through the sea? Do we put it through the air? Do you have some things that you vanish and come up? I mean, let's get crazy thinking about what our future could be. We have everything here to make it possible. We have minerals that we've not yet discovered. I mean, cobalt just started mining in Congo about like less than 10 years ago, and like almost every phone in the world has cobalt now, and it's doing crazy things with smartphones and powering smartphones. And so there are still more things that we have here that we can develop and use for it. And so that was what the map was about. Is a map that should it come into reality, I'm sure I could come to visit you and have dinner with you every weekend in Joburg.
And I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm really looking forward to having you in Johannesburg. I'm looking forward to meeting you in different parts of the world. Most importantly, I'm looking forward to you leading us in different parts of the world, representing us in different parts of the world, and leading the future of this continent. So this show is called The Mayor's Office. And what I do is that I ask people, if you were mayor of anything, or any city, or any world, what would it be? So with you, what would it be?
Gracious. A typical Accra boy like me would like to be mayor of Accra. Born and bred in Accra. My secondary school was Accra Academy. I support Accra Hearts of Folk. That's my football club. I'm Accra student too. If I was mayor of anything, I'd like to be Accra. But more importantly, if I was mayor of anything, I'd like to be mayor of Pan-Africanism. I was telling you, man, we are brothers. I mean, someone who lives in Accra is as much a brother with someone who's from Nigeria and Yoruba. I mean, we'll tell you that we have a lot of things in common. The xylophone, you saw the xylophone being played yesterday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the xylophone first came to Africa in Mozambique. Would you believe it? And it's migrated, found its way from Mozambique all the way to northern Ghana. It's past many places. So I mean, there are many things that connect us. If I was the mayor of anything, I'd like to be the mayor of Pan-Africanism. Let's get that train line working. Let's get that road line working. Let's eat our food. I'm sure you're enjoying the kinky and the gobe. You know, yeah. And so and I'm sure there are so many meals in South Africa like that. I've taken your baku. There's this drink people have, like it's the baku, right? Yeah, I've taken the baku. Great, fantastic drink, you know. So there are many things that connect us that we are enjoying. So if I was supposed to be a mayor of anything, maybe Accra will be second, but I'd like to be the mayor of Pan-Africanism. Yeah.
I like that. And if you're leading it, I want to live in it. I want my children to live in it, and those who come after that to live in it. Thank you for this conversation, man.
Thank you very, very much for having me here. I hope someone learned something new and listen, we are all brothers, man. Nii Komey Mpumelelo.
That's it. That's my name, Nii Komey Mpumelelo.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nii Komey.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Well, that's the end of that chapter, and the beginning of a new one. The story continues. So wherever you're watching or listening to this from, please press subscribe and share with your people. This podcast is produced with other amazing storytellers, starting off with the visual direction by Studio 30 Native. The visual podcasts are interpreted to South African Sign Language by Thuli Zikalala from Yellow Owl, who happens to be one of 11 SARTI accredited
SASL interpreters. That's a huge flex, by the way. The music and scoring is produced by xSipping of Father Ape Studios. The homie did an amazing job on this one. The social media and project rollout strategy is by Eric Ipalibu Thomas. Thanks for listening and enjoy your day.